So we already talked about the best movies of the year. Let's talk about the worst movies of the year. And also, just like the best movies, it's not going to be in any particular order. Now, our lists do differ a little bit. There's 2 movies on his list that are not on mine and vice versa. So let's start with the movies that were on both of our lists, and let's start with Whispers.
Bing bang!
Whispers is a adaptation of a Dean Koontz novel that is actually really good called Whispers. I've read it. Great book. This adaptation, unfortunately, was horrendous. I don't even know how to explain what this movie's about. It's about a guy who's an absolute psychopath. That he gets in a confrontation with a woman. She kills him, but he comes back. And this woman and this police officer get caught up in this crazy situation with this psychotic guy. It's a really hard movie to explain. It doesn't make any sense, but it was, God, dude, this was such a bad adaptation.
Yeah, it has the weirdest sex scene of all time.
But that was funny, though.
Yes.
That was funny.
He sleeps in his bed with his own dead twin brother.
Yep.
And I didn't even pick up on that until we were filming, because this movie makes no sense at all.
And that scene was just kind of disgusting, too.
Yes, there's a mortician that dresses himself as a dead person, paints himself as a dead person, and likes to have sex with women as a dead man.
Yep.
They think the guy might be a vampire. They think he might be a zombie.
Yep.
He lives in an elevator shaft.
This movie's just bad, and it's a shame, too, because the book legitimately is good.
Bing bang!
The next movie on the list is a Chuck Norris movie called Top Dog. Now, Chuck Norris is a police officer. He's one of those police officers that, like, you know, he doesn't follow the rules. He kind of gets in trouble with his captain all the time. I don't remember how or why, but he ends up having this big old dog come into his life. And this dog is just a handful and a nuisance, and him and this dog team up together to stop these criminals. But the movie is just boring and not funny.
All I remember clowns attacking a house.
Yes.
And Chuck Norris maybe does like a front flip over a fence.
Yeah, he does, dude.
I remember
the Pope
getting choked by the dog.
And shit was funny.
And going, oh, and
that shit was funny.
Yeah.
Unintentionally.
Yeah. I remember a terrorist attack where none of these terrorists can hit.
Oh, that's right. It was a freaking Nazi white supremacist terrorist organization in this kids movie.
Yeah.
Dude. So Top Dog is.
Oh, remember when the dog ate an entire rotisserie chicken in like 3 seconds?
In like 3 seconds, yeah.
Bing bang!
Stop, or my mom will shoot. Starring Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah, if you ever look up like worst movies of all time, this always pops up on there because it did actually make a lot of money, and it was like at the height of Stallone.
Yeah.
So this movie actually has been seen by a lot of people, and it's like known for being one of those like you've got to see this because it's so bad.
Yeah, and basically what it's about, he's a cop, and his mom comes to town, and she's super annoying, and she's constantly like making his life a living hell with all the stupid stuff she does, like washing his gun in the sink with a bunch of chemicals and all this other stuff. Him and her end up getting roped up in this criminal thing going on that they end up teaming up together at the end of the movie to stop. And
I just remember tons of product placement, insane amount.
So much.
I remember Sylvester Stallone in a diaper.
He was, in
acting
that dream
like a
scene.
baby.
Yeah, in that dream sequence.
Yeah.
And she like makes him a giant breakfast and like forces him to eat it all.
Yeah.
And it's just like, she's
very clingy.
Very clingy, very annoying. If it had been well written and been written by a good writer that's a good comedic writer, it could have been really funny and it could have been really fun. But it just wasn't. It was very poorly written.
Bing bang!
Monster movie of sorts, and it's called Boa. And it stars, what's his dude's name? Dean Cain. It stars Dean Cain, and basically it's like there's this prison in Antarctica, and they're drilling into it, and they release this ancient giant boa constrictor that starts killing people in prison. And Dean Cain is like an archaeologist or a paleontologist. I don't know. He's like some animal guy. And he goes there with his wife with a military team so that they can figure out how to stop this giant snake, but also while kind of keeping it under wraps. And it was just so bad, dude.
Yeah, it's bad. It's one of those Sci-Fi Channel movies. Well, actually, it was actually a straight to VHS movie.
Yeah.
But it's one of those movies that's like meant for the Sci-Fi Channel.
Yeah, Dean Cain's acting is bad. His wife, he thinks his wife gets killed at one point, and he just doesn't give a shit.
Doesn't care.
The prisoners in the prison, you got your nerdy guy, you got your hacker. No, that was the hacker guy. You got your good-looking, like stereotypical guy that wants to get with all the ladies, and you got some Irish woman that's like and you got, dude, I don't even remember.
I can't even really remember what else. I remember the python or the boa jumping and connecting itself to an airplane that's flying through the air.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, this movie has sequels called like Boa vs. Python and shit. So.
Yeah. Don't watch Boa.
Bing bang.
Next up is a Western called Hard Bounty, and definitely the worst Western I've ever seen in my life, because it was not like full-blown softcore porn, but it definitely had some sex scenes in it that were more or less softcore porn.
Right, this director, I can't remember his name, these are the movies he makes.
Yeah.
They're like borderline porn, borderline actual movie.
Yeah, this bounty hunter guy. And
Clint Eastwood ripoff.
Yeah, Clint Eastwood ripoff, and he goes to this town and where he has like this relationship with some prostitute that works in a brothel, and there's like this guy there's like this rich guy. I don't even remember what the damn movie's about,
I don't either.
bro.
I just remember breasts.
Lots of breasts.
Yeah.
Bing bang.
All right, let's jump over to The Fear, which we watched recently. And The Fear is essentially about a mannequin that has the spirit of a psycho in it, and it comes to life. And like, there's all these people that are doing this, these like younger people that are trying to do this ritual with this mannequin where they can like shed their worst fears. And this mannequin comes to life and starts killing them. And his name is, what was the mannequin's
Morty.
name? Morty. That's
Morty is the man.
Yeah.
Akin. But dude, Morty, here's what I will say. Everything about this movie's awful.
Yeah.
Morty
Yeah.
is the man, dude.
Yeah.
He is the best. He's an absolute psycho. He's a murder and killing machine. And all he wants to do is be a poor old little mannequin.
Yeah.
He doesn't want this killer inside of him that's gotten inside of him.
And
he can shapeshift.
Teleport.
He talks shit.
Yeah, and when any line he says, it's just like,
Yeah.
that just, what?
Why did we put this in the worst? Morty's the man. We should have put this in the best.
Bing bang.
Let's talk about Plump Fiction. Plump Fiction, I mean, it's a parody of Pulp Fiction, but it's a really shitty parody.
It's a parody of some other movies too.
Yeah, Reservoir Dogs.
Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
I think Do the Right Thing is in there by Spike Lee.
But mainly Pulp Fiction.
Natural Born Killers.
Natural Born Killers.
Yeah.
And it's just not a good parody, dude.
This movie gave me a headache.
Yeah.
Fake prosthetic ass.
Yep.
Did a penguin get shot in this movie?
It was a stuffed animal penguin. Yeah.
Stuffed animal penguin.
Yeah.
By a bunch of nuns.
Yep. And it's a shame too, because I feel like if it was a really good writer, they could have made a good parody of Pulp Fiction.
Probably.
You know? But this movie was just horrendous.
Oh, she's allergic to burritos.
Yeah.
So when she eats a burrito, she turns into a psychotic killer.
That was the clerk scene. She like kills everybody in the restaurant or whatever.
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
Bing bang.
Before we get to that movie, you know the one.
It's by far the worst.
Yeah, before we get to that, really quickly, the two movies that are on your list that are not on mine, which is Ping and Chill Factor. So talk about those.
Yeah, Ping is a Home Alone ripoff. I just remember weird ass stuff like a man picks the dog up in a car and it's supposed to be very like Coen Brothers-esque, but it's not. I remember very racist cats.
Yeah.
And Chill Factor.
Yeah,
it's just my worst nightmare of a movie. It's Cuba Gooding Jr. and Skeet Ulrich. It's about an ice cream truck with a bomb in it. And the scientist quotes Oppenheimer, and he's like, "I am become death." You know, the classic Oppenheimer line. And it's just, They ride a boat down a hill, and it plays banjo music.
And then my two movies that were on my list that were not on his, I'll just quickly, Power Play. You know, I get it. It's a made-for-TV movie that's a religious movie, so it has a lot of religious messaging in it. I get it, I understand, but it's not for me. Nightfall was a adaptation of a very famous sci-fi novel, and it was just a mess of a movie.
Bing bang.
It's time to get to the final movie on the list, which I think we both agree is probably the worst movie we've seen on VHS
The worst
Voyage.
movie I've maybe ever seen in my life.
And it was a movie given to me as a gift by from our friend Brandon from Arkansas Picker on YouTube. Now, in his defense,
no, stop. Do not defend him.
He had never seen the movie. He just thought it looked cool, and he's like, "Hey guys, I'm gonna send this to you." So it's called Evil Alien Conquerors, and it's about a couple of aliens that get sent to Earth. They look and act just like humans, basically, and they get sent to Earth to try to conquer and take over the planet. And everything about this, you know, it isn't even like, everything about this movie. But the worst thing about this movie is it was just on another level of cringe and stupidity and annoying.
Bro, the bad guy that screams
At the end of the movie, oh,
there's this villain that screams
every line.
for 30 minutes, and
Yeah.
it's so bad.
Yeah.
It's a massive product placement for Smirnoff Ice.
Yes.
They poop out of their wieners.
The comedy in this movie is just stupid as shit I've ever seen in my life. Female aliens have unibrows
Correct.
that they think are sexy, and they're like eating her.
It's her toe hair. He's eating her toe hair. They get attacked by a cow. They build this flying machinery that they have to wear diapers when they fly or something. Here's the worst part. People like this movie. We found Reddit threads of people praising this movie, calling it like their favorite comedy of all time.
Of all the movies we've watched, was the hardest movie for me to get through. It was like torture. The whole time, I'm like, please let it in.
Yeah.
Please let it in.
Yes.
And when the movie was over, I wanted to pour gasoline on myself and drop a match.
And I think the movie's only like an hour and 20 minutes. It felt like 4 hours. I genuinely I will forever have a grudge against Arkansas Picker.
Yeah, because you know what? This movie is burned into my head.
Correct.
Dude. It's like a lot of these other movies are so forgettable, but this movie was so bad that it's like burned into my head.
When I see him, I can't be like, oh, there's my friend Picker. I just see the movie.
I don't even want to talk about this movie anymore.
Nope.
That's it for tonight's episode of VHS Voyage on the worst movies we've seen in the past year. I'm Matt.
Devin.
And we'll catch you guys next week.